Howdy folks, and welcome back to Reading Held Hostage. This is part 2 of our Twilight episode. We'll be starting on chapter 7, but today we actually have a very special guest today in lieu of Justin.
It's me, Robert Pattinson, isn't it?
Yeah, Robert, thank you so much for being here today. Can you tell us a little bit about how you were feeling, like, going through the Twilights?
Wait, this is about this podcast about Twilight?
Yeah, you know, everybody's favorite movie and book series, Twilight.
I fucking hate those movies.
That's not true.
And those fucking books.
The books are great, first of all. The movies, I agree. Robert, they did make you look a little pale.
A little pale? They put white fucking paint on me at the beginning of every fucking day of recording. And then they fucking doused me in glitter. Didn't they?
You know, it was not described as glitter in the book, Robert.
I didn't fucking live in a lighthouse with William Dafoe for 3 years to make the movie Lighthouse, to come on this podcast and talk about fucking Twilight, didn't I?
All I'm gonna say is that
I didn't fucking invent time travel for Tenet to record the movie Tenet.
I don't think I've seen Tenet. I've really only seen your works in Harry Potter and Twilight, Mr. Pattinson.
Really?
Yeah.
The movie I fucking die in, and the movie I'm a fucking dumb vampire. Those are the two movies you've seen.
I'm sorry, you're not a dumb vampire, you're a sexy vampire, Robert.
That's fucking bullshit. I'm so goddamn pissed.
So, if we could talk a little bit about how you and your co-stars added so much unneeded sexual tension to the movies.
Fucking everybody in that movie was great. I loved everybody in the movie.
Yes.
But I fucking hated everything else about it. Oh, fuck. Shit.
What's wrong, Robert?
You're not gonna believe this. You know the movie Santa Claus?
Which one?
The one with where he kills Santa Claus?
Yeah.
So it turns out that if you play Batman in a live-action movie, you become Batman of a different universe. So I gotta run.
You gotta go?
I gotta go.
The bat thing is calling?
Yeah, they need the Batman.
Okay, well now we know that Robert Pattinson is the Batman. Thank you so much, everybody. I guess we won't be able to do...
Wait, what was that?
Justin?
Yeah, what was...
Oh, hey babe, I didn't know you were awake. I thought I could hear you snoring.
Did someone just run out of the house?
No.
Who was here?
You know, since you're here, that's all that matters right now. Do you want to do the podcast?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, since we're already recording, do you just want to welcome everybody back?
Yeah, hey guys, welcome to Reading Held Hostage. Did you do your part?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Welcome back to Reading Held Hostage. My name's Blue, and I love to read.
And my name's Justin, and I hate to read.
I really like that, baby.
What?
Can we talk about it or no?
Talk about what?
Okay, so for this bit of the podcast, this is part 2.
Yes.
Which will hopefully be released on the Thursday after the first part comes out.
Wait, this is real. Who are you doing the podcast with?
What are you talking about?
Come on.
Batman.
Batman?
Babe, yeah.
Wait, Robert Pattinson was in the house?
Yeah, you missed him?
How'd you get him here? We have like 4 listeners right now.
Justin, I don't know if you've ever seen the Twilights, but he goes really fast.
Didn't he hate those movies?
When he was here, he told me he really liked them.
Like in every interview I've seen of him.
I mean, he wasn't here, so I've heard that he really likes them.
I can't believe you didn't wait. I really liked Batman.
Yeah, it was, and I really like Twilight. No, you comment on Twilight.
Like his movie when he lived in the Lighthouse with
like,
William Dafoe?
No, like the older movies.
When he recorded that, he was in there for 3 years with him.
I don't believe in time, so if you could go back to 2000.
Speaking of time, he invented time travel for Tenet.
Oh my gosh, babe, those are the same 3 facts that Robert Pattinson said about himself when he was here.
Really?
That you guys must be like...
Like this, I should have...
Yeah.
Damn, I wish I would have met him.
I should have gotten something signed for you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was just so overwhelming.
Well, why did he leave?
His penis got caught in his zipper.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Like I said, this is part
Robert
2.
Pattinson.
Shut up about Robert Pattinson, okay? He's obviously not even the best actor from Twilight. Okay?
That hurts.
It's obviously whatever the guy who's Taylor Lautner. I couldn't remember.
Taylor Lautner, yes.
Name.
Shark Boy.
Shark Boy, yeah. The Heike, though, Shark Boy was lit.
It was pretty good. The dance scene where he's like dancing with the sharks.
Yeah, that one's really good. And his little
dream.
Remember how that movie is only like 4 years apart from the Twilight?
Oh shit, I forgot about that. And he like
yeah, it's from fucking 2000. It's 3 years
separated.
Yeah, so Shark Boy and Lava Girl took place 3 years before the first Twilight came
That's
out.
insane.
And he's like big in the first Twilight. I mean, he obviously gets way bigger in the next one, but well, not obvious. That's not obvious if you haven't read the book or anything. Okay, are you ready to skedoodle on to reading the book?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I did already read the book. I listened to it, and because I do the most for this podcast.
Yeah.
I suffered through listening to this softcore porn without any of the fun porn stuff.
Wait, I thought this book was like for 8-year-olds.
Yeah, and it basically has the same feel as a softcore porn, like I said, without any of the fun stuff. Because God wouldn't want that, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to out you a little bit. So
and I'll make a decision on if it stays in the podcast.
Last night, you were reading the book, and you got like a really cringe face over you. Mm-hmm. And then
okay, this can stay.
Can you look up real quick?
Yeah.
And I look up, and you walk up to me, and you just put your face in my neck.
Yeah.
And just kind of stay there. Mm-hmm. And then in my neck, you say, this is what's happening in the book right now.
Yeah. Well, because that's what was happening. That's what was being described. And I wanted to act it out with somebody I loved to see how uncomfortable that would be.
Oh, I fucking hated it.
And it's not even like something that would like naturally happen.
No.
So that's what I wanted to do that's what I was doing, because I was reading it and I wanted to poke my eyes out, and then I did it to you and I wanted to poke my eyes out.
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll get to that today because you have a lot more commentary on this book than you did the last couple ones, but let's hippity hop into it for chapter 7. Actually, I lied. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened in the first 6 chapters, what you remember?
The van crashed.
Mm-hmm. What song was playing during the van crashing?
Well, it's a book.
In the movie.
I have no clue.
That's because you're a loser, but... Okay, next. What else?
I thought we ended there.
Did we? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember because I've written these notes. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if we figured out what he was yet.
Oh.
We haven't. So, you're right. Now we're in chapter 7, and for some reason she's going home. She's playing this CD that Phil got her, and she's not like other girls because it's like heavy metal. But she has a dream about Edward, and Jacob and Mike are there.
Yeah.
Basically there's like a lot of boys pushing her around and warning her not to go towards Edward. But then she wakes up and decides to do some research by Googling she just Googles vampires. Which is a pretty solid start.
Does she use Microsoft Bing?
You know, she does make a joke about how long it takes to get her internet up and running that I didn't understand because I wasn't born in that internet age, because this came out in 2005.
Yeah.
But she starts to feel that, like, Edward has speed, he has strength, he has beauty.
He's fast as fuck.
He's fast as fuck. And don't forget his unmeasurably pale and sexy skin.
Ew.
His eyes that shift in color. And it doesn't make any sense, though, because everything says that vampires can't go outside.
Yeah.
Then she goes for a thinking hike, which I would never do.
Yep, I love thinking hikes.
Way too much effort. And she kind of feels that, you know, this might be it. This might be what the Cullens are, vampires.
But why would you come to that conclusion that someone would be a mythological creature?
Well, because remember, Jacob told her the story on the beach about the Cullens?
Yeah, but that doesn't, like... If someone told me a story on the beach that, like, vampires are real, I'd be like, oh, that person's crazy.
Yeah, but Imagine there's a blue filter over everything.
Oh,
how about now?
Blue, yeah, I get it. Okay.
If you haven't seen the movies, it's literally like blue. Like there's no color besides blue.
I'm blue, da boo dee ba boo ba.
We've got to stop singing songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we hit them note for note, and they're gonna
Verbatim,
copyright strike us.
So then she decides the only two options she has is that she either needs to stay far away from him or, you know, kind of go all out. And she doesn't really have an idea yet.
Yeah, you know the two options.
What?
You could have just, like, chilled.
No, she has no chill. The next day at school, Mike starts flirting with her and asking her out. She's like, focus on Jessica, because Mike is an idiot. But then Jessica invites her to go to a place called Port Angeles to go shopping the next night. Charlie's chill with her going shopping, but she is worried about leaving him to fend for himself, which is like, you're literally his 17-year-old daughter.
And he's been doing that for, like,
17
all
years.
of his life, yeah.
Yeah, he actually makes the comment. He's like, literally, calm down. I fed myself for 17 years.
Yeah.
Which I thought was appropriate because he's, you know, her father.
A full adult, yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to get dresses. They're driving to get dresses. And chapter 8, they're dress shopping and gabbing. And it turns out that Bella has never had a boyfriend or anything like that.
What the heck?
But this is something that pissed me off because you're telling me that in Phoenix, Arizona, not one single male made any movement towards Bella, but in Forks, she's got 4 guys swooning all over her like it's nobody's business.
She's like Phoenix 4 and a Forks 10.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, everybody asked her out, and apparently, like, one of the guys, Tyler, the guy who almost hit her with the car, is telling everybody that he's going to be taking her to the prom, and Bella's, like, really upset about that.
Cool move. I'm going to hit you with my car and then prom?
He didn't actually hit her with the car, but he almost did. And as they go to do more shopping, Bella ends up going and separating to go book shopping by herself, which you don't separate when you're in a group. Always have a partner.
Buddy system, baby.
Yeah, I mean, buddies get kidnapped, but it's a lot less likely for buddies to get kidnapped.
Yeah.
So she goes to the bookshop and then ends up meandering through the streets, like just doing some thinking, because the bookshop was a little bit tinier than she wanted.
Yeah.
And she's getting a little lost, and she realized like there's like a group of 4 men heckling her, which is terrifying.
Yeah, cool.
Again, she's 17, she's 5'4", she probably weighs less than $120.
Yeah, cool move, guys.
Guys, don't be gross. So 2 of them end up actually starting to follow her, and she sees like 2 of them kind of go somewhere else.
Yikes.
And she's walking, she's like thinking in her head that she's getting closer to like an area where she should be, but she's still completely lost.
Yeah. And
then like she hears the 2 guys behind her. They start to slow down. She's walking fast thinking, how am I going to kick their ass?
And then they say, whoa, look at that cool Volvo.
The 2 men behind her yell up ahead because the other 2 men who were heckling her are in front of her, and she's being slowly herded into a spot.
Cool move.
Super creepy. So they get really close and they start like, you know, being nasty men about it, which men pretty much never talk to a woman if she's alone, honestly.
Yeah.
That would just be my advice.
My thing as, like, I'm a pretty big dude. I am very careful how I approach women that are alone. Mm-hmm. To be like, hey, I'm a bud. Yeah. Not here for anything. Because we're buds.
That's true. Obviously, these men were being gross.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Off the bat.
So they're cornering her, and then, Justin, you'll never guess what comes out of nowhere.
Oh, fuck, a sexy Volvo.
Yeah, I wrote a shiny, sexy Volvo.
Woo!
And Edward's there, and he's obviously furious. He's like teeth clenched, and he says, "Get in the car," which...
No, that's just as creepy.
Yeah, but I suppose since she knows him. But he's furious, and he goes, "Distract me." And she starts talking. She's kind of spooked. She put her seatbelt on. Don't worry, guys. And she's talking about how she's going to destroy Tyler Crowley for telling everyone that they're going to prom. And that she just goes on and on and on before Edward says, "I'm sorry, I have a temper problem. Let's go to dinner." That would be one single red flag to start.
Yeah, for sure.
Homie, first of all, I know how old he is. You've had plenty of time to go to therapy, dude.
Yeah. Hey, I get super duper aggressive on the reg.
Yeah, but like no problem, right?
Yeah, it's chill. It's chill.
So he takes Bella to the same dinner place that Jessica and Angela and her were supposed to meet at. And they already ate and they're like in shock that Edward's there with her.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wow, his Volvo's so sexy. And I mean,
look at his Volvo.
So they are going to leave, and he has permission to them to take Bella home, but not Bella's permission to take her home.
Weird.
Yeah, so then they go inside the restaurant, and they sit down, and the waitress is, like, really hot, but Edward's not giving her any attention, and Bella's like, why? I'm so ugly, and I'm such a loser. That's crazy.
I'm a Phoenix 4.
She keeps repeating that she's not hungry, and he, like, will not listen to her and orders food for them.
Cool move.
Like, I mean, he's right in this instant because she did just have that shock. She literally has not eaten all day.
Yeah.
So he's right in the instance, like, you do physically need food. And, like, she drinks, like, 2 sodas. So she's obviously, like, recouping her body's energy.
Yeah.
But I don't like to be told what to do.
You don't get to choose what other people want to do.
No. And if she says, I'm not hungry, you go, hey, are you sure about that? You haven't eaten all day. I think it's a good idea for you to eat something.
Yeah.
Instead of Edward. So just say you're not hungry.
Yeah, I'm not really hungry right now.
Yeah, you'll be ordering something. So that's how that kind of goes. He's kind of mad at her because she should be going into shock, but she's not.
Why aren't you going into psychological distress?
Yeah. She's not like other girls.
I'm pissed.
But she's not, and she says it's because she feels really safe with Edward, and that he's a lot better when his eyes are light. She kind of chalks this up to, like, maybe he's hungry, maybe he's not hungry, which is the truth. She just figures it out on her own.
That's so...
Yeah.
Your eyes change hunger?
Well, because she notes that she says men are more crabby when they're hungry, so when you're crabby, your eyes are dark, therefore you must be hungry because you're more crabby and your eyes are dark. Like
that makes no fucking sense.
You're 100% more crabby when you're hungry.
No, I get that part.
Oh, okay. It's just a correlation. Like when you're crabby,
his eyes change.
You must be hungry. I am also noting that your eyes are a different color when this crabbiness is most frequent. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, are you sure? Because you got grumpy about it. Are you hungry, baby? You kind of seem pretty grabby. Let me see the color of your eyes. They start a really uncomfortable question and answer game. Primarily where she asks, she's like, hey, like, hypothetically, if somebody could read minds. And basically it just gets, like, really overly sexual for my comfort. And it ends up in Bella confirming, like, by herself. She goes, okay, Edward can 100% read minds.
Yeah.
He says that he's never tried to keep some specific human alive before, like he's really trying to keep Bella alive.
Does he say human?
Yes.
That's cool.
She says, don't you think my number was up the first time when the van almost crushed me? And he sexily says, your number was up the first time I met you.
Oh, I was gonna fucking murder you.
Yeah, which is, nothing's hotter than a man telling... She's giving me, like, people who followed Ted Bundy vibes.
Yeah.
Or Manson vibes.
Yeah.
Then he tells her that he was able to find her by keeping an eye on Jessica's mind because he can't read her mind.
Why is he telling her that?
Oh, he just kind of, once she figures something out, he's like, oh, thank God. Woof.
Okay.
And he can just say everything. So then they finish eating, and she actually did eat a ton of food. She was actually really hungry. And they get into a sexy Volvo, and he tells her it's her turn to answer questions.
Ruh-roh, don't trap someone in your car and be like, ooh, it's question time, maybe.
Yeah, I've been there before. It's not fun. Chapter 9, prank.
What?
Did I prank you? She has one more question for him.
Oh, damn.
How did he end up finding her south? Like, because she went off around where she wasn't. He followed her scent.
Ooh, gross, gross, gross.
She then decides that he didn't answer her first question about how the mind reading works, and he says it's like hearing everybody's mind at once, but he can focus on the voices he's most familiar with.
It's like if you're talking to someone in a crowd.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Which could have just been those words.
Yeah.
He can't hear Bella's thoughts, and she's like, is that my fault?
Is it because I'm muttering in my head?
And he's like laughing at her, like, why the hell would you be worried about that when I just told you I can read minds, which is completely reasonable.
Oh, for sure.
Although he's like very patronizing about it. After this, Bella looks down at the speedometer and realizes that Edward is going 100 miles per hour, and she freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, as you should.
Absolutely. He's like, I won't crash. Like, I'm never gonna get a ticket. I can read minds. How about fucking slow down?
Yeah.
Just because you can go 100 miles per hour doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
That's scurry.
That is.
And we live in the States. There are not very good roads here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
She finally tells him her final theory, coming from Jacob Black. And that the theory is that they're vampires. And she's like, suddenly it comes back to her head that she just forced Jacob to break the treaty and then told the other side of the treaty that she did that.
Yeah.
And she's like, it was probably due to my intense flirting with him.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's
it's
like...
It's fine that he broke the treaty because I'm so fuckable.
Yeah, I'm so and I convinced him. Again, Jacob just turned 15 and she's 18 turning 17, which is like, no.
18 turning 17?
17 turning 18.
She's Benjamin Button.
Well, will be, maybe. But you get what I'm saying. So, he wonders what convinced her, and she says that nothing's convinced her. She just kind of decided it didn't matter.
Gross.
Yeah, and Edward's like, what? What do you mean it doesn't matter? What do you mean you don't care if I'm a human or a vampire? She's like, I just don't care. And he's like freaking out. He's like, why the fuck would it not matter?
Yeah.
Perfect. But like, he's mad at her for that.
Yeah.
Which is like, don't be mad at her. Although that is kind of weird. Bella then asks, how old is he? He's 17. And she goes, how long have you been 17? And he goes, a while. Gross.
100 years.
Well.
100 years.
She asks him how come he can come out in the sun, and he like literally laughs in her face and is like, that's a myth. But I can't sleep. He can't sleep.
Yeah.
And then he goes, sexily, don't you want to know if I drink blood? And she's like, Jacob says you're different and that you don't eat people.
Cool.
Well, if Jacob said it, it must be true.
That's how Jacob works. Mm-hmm. He cannot lie.
Edward then confirms they do not drink human blood and that they're still really dangerous and that they can make mistakes, like how he's hanging out with her.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Everybody has those days.
Yeah, keep going. Okay. So her theory, like kind of jumping off her theory that men are crabbier when they're hungry, she makes the decision that he must have been out hunting with Emmett in the past weekend because his eyes are lighter and he's not as crabby.
Cool.
Are you liking this chapter so far?
I'm loving it.
I know, there's so much fucking talking. I'm like, break it up. Get to the baseball scene already. What? I love the baseball scene.
Yeah, I know.
I watched it the other day. Just that scene.
Just the baseball scene?
Yeah. Edward's like, it makes me anxious to be away from her. And she's like, oh, it makes me anxious when you're gone. And he's like, are you dumb? Like, I'm dangerous. Is it wrong? It's not safe? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then he's like, he's getting mad at her. Like, again, being really mean for her. It's wrong for you to do this. It's not safe. And she starts to cry. And he goes, are you crying?
Got her.
Like, appalled. And then he finally starts to ask, like, he doesn't even calm her down. He's just like, something I couldn't understand is that, like, what were you thinking when the men were coming to get you? And she's like, I was thinking about the self-defense moves I could use because I'm too clumsy to run away because she's not like other girls.
Not like other girls.
She falls all the time. I don't know if girls fall. I don't fall.
Not like other girls.
No, I don't fall.
Yeah, not like other girls.
I'm a woman.
Oh.
I'm not like other women. Because I don't fall.
Okay.
So yeah, she just starts to cry and he gets mad at her, which is like bullshit. You should never get mad at somebody for crying.
Yeah.
Unless they're crocodile tearing it. But then they arrive at Charlie's and Edward just says, like, don't go in the woods alone. I'm not the most dangerous thing out there.
Dun dun dun.
And then when she goes in to talk to Charlie, she goes
directly into the woods.
She does, I mean, pretty much, no. She realizes 3 things. First, she confirms Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him that wanted to kill her. And 3, she was for sure in love with him.
Gross.
So what do you think about that bit before we go on to the next?
Gross.
Can you elaborate?
It's all gross. He is over 100 years old and is...
Spoilers.
Obsessing over a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm. And then chapter 10 is
Wait, don't brush past that.
What?
It's...
We'll talk about it more. You gave spoilers, Justin.
Oh.
We don't know he's 100 plus now. All we know is that he's been 17 for a while.
A while, 100 years.
No, not 100 years. Chapter 10, this chapter's called Interrogations, so that's cool. Charlie's gone, but she wakes up and Edward's there to give her a ride to school. And she feels like he's really giving her a choice. And I was like, girl, do you feel like he typically does not give you a choice? Because that's no bueno.
That would not be good.
But they don't really talk too sweetly. He's, like, really aggressive about how she took everything too well and that, like, he can never tell what she's thinking and it drives him insane. And this is, like, if you've seen the movies before, which just that I know you have, this is the blue tint. They're driving to school, slow motion getting out of the car with the Eyes on Fire playing in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Do you really not know that?
I do not remember the movie shot for shot.
All right, guys, so we're going to have to stop this podcast so that my husband can rewatch every single Twilight movie right now.
Hey, guys, we're not doing that. Let's continue.
All right. And we're back, Justin. We just watched all the Twilight movies.
We didn't even cut.
We should watch the Twilights.
I'm not watching them
After
again.
After this book, can we watch the first one?
No, I'm good.
If the listeners want Justin to watch the first movie at the very least and talk about it with me on the podcast, you have to rate and review us and let us know that, and we will. And he'll be the one who talks to me about it.
Yeah.
Is that okay, babe? Oh my god, he's jumping up, he's cheering, his arms are going up and down, he's so excited. You probably can't hear him so far away from the mic. Babe, calm down, we're doing a podcast.
I'm still right next to the mic.
Okay. So they get to school in the sexy shiny Volvo and she's like, what'd your family drive? And he's like, a red BMW M3 convertible. And I'm like, I don't give a fucking shit about the goddamn car.
We all drive Volvos.
But apparently, like, it's like a really big shiny car.
The Cullens brought to you by Volvo.
Honestly, like, it's actually aggravating. And then I just wrote, Jessica sees them together and gets Star Trek by Edward, and he reads her mind. She wants to know if they're secretly dating and how Bella feels about Edward. And I wrote, too flirty. It's too flirty at this point. It's icky. Like I said, it's all the bits of porn without any of the fun bits of porn. So, yes, they're secretly dating, and he's really excited to hear her answer on the second question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then she gets to class and talks to Mike, and then she goes to class, talks to Jessica, who bombards her with questions. He knows that Edward is reading Jessica's mind, so she kind of plays with him a little bit. And she tells Jessica that he likes him too much, more than he likes her. Again, they've literally known each other for maybe 2 months at this point.
Gross.
I guess some people believe in love at first sight. I personally don't, because
we fell in love at first sight, right?
No, because
I'm cutting that out.
No.
Yep. We fell in love at first sight.
No, we didn't. Because you don't even know if your partner picks their book. I mean, everybody picks their boogers. But you don't know if they're good at wiping their butt or not, you know?
But we fell in love at first sight.
We did not.
What?
We've recorded this part 3 times. Stop!
But we fell in love at first sight. Why'd you laugh?
Because we've recorded this 4 times.
Just say we fell in love at first sight.
No, because we didn't, because I was 14.
And I was 15. It's not creepy.
But we didn't fall in love at first sight because I think people need to know each other a little bit better. And if you fall in love at first sight, that's awesome. Way less work, it kind of sounds like.
Yeah.
But she's like falling in love with him, and it's like, you're literally 17 years old. Shut up. Yeah. But Edward greets her after class, and he's all irritated for some reason because why the fuck wouldn't he be? They go to lunch, he eats some food, and he eats like people food, and he's like, it's like eating dirt. Like, you can eat dirt, but like it's not sustenance. And I'm like, I don't eat dirt.
No. Wouldn't.
No.
Would not eat dirt.
But he's getting all fussy because how could she truly believe that she cares for him more than he cares for her? Then I wrote icky section, too much talking and weirdness. Because they just like flirt back and forth for like forever, and it's like so boring. But she
just get to the fun part. What is the fun part?
It's not even like there is a fun part because you're just the whole time like, I hate the both of you. You both suck, and you're small children. Yeah. So she decides that, like, the reason she thinks that she cares for him more is because he is often talking to her like he's saying goodbye. Yeah. But also, like, I'm writing this, she has terrible self-esteem. Like, girl has no self-esteem. Yeah. At all. And he decides that, like, she can't see herself clearly.
Well, the mirror's all fogged up.
Well, vampires can't see themselves in mirrors.
She's not a vampire.
Neither, and he can see himself in a mirror. Oh. What's the mirror fogged up? I don't get that reference.
No, I was just making a joke.
Can you do it again so I can laugh?
She can't see herself clearly because the mirror's all fogged up.
I'm kidding. I get it now.
Okay.
You know I can't get jokes when I'm enthralled in Twilight conversation.
Sure.
But then they shut the fuck up about that, and they ask him what he's going to do Saturday, and he's like, if you're not going to Seattle, like, come on out and hang out with me, and I'll show you what I look like in the sun.
Weird.
Yeah. And he says that she needs to tell somebody, Charlie, Jessica, somebody, that she is out with him so that he has some sort of incentive to bring her back.
Why would you be worried about that?
Because he's worried he's still going to kill her. You know how that time...
Why are we reading this book?
In the beginning of our relationship, when you thought you were going to kill me?
No, because that never happened.
Oh, it's almost like he's a vampire.
Blue. I'm a vampire.
You don't sparkle in the sun, though. You just get a farmer's tan.
That's what vampires do in real life.
They get found.
The t-shirt area just does not tan. It doesn't happen.
She then asks them about, like, hunting. And he says they went and hunted bears because they're Emmett's favorite.
Weird.
Edward's favorite is mountain lion. But don't worry, Justin. I know your next question was about the environment. They try not to impact the environment. So they go to places that are overly consumed by predators. Which in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, those are all endangered.
I think bears and mountain lions are endangered. Maybe they weren't in 2005.
I bet they were.
Yeah. But, she's like, I want to see you hunt. And he's like, that's fucking weird. And he gets all pissy and then they go to the next class. Why would she want to see them hunt? I barely like to see you eat a Chipotle bowl.
Yeah. I mean, like...
you fucking devour Chipotle bowl.
That's the thing is, like, when I eat my burrito, Blue, like, sets hers up.
It takes me like 20 minutes to set up my bowl.
But before she's done setting it up, I'm like, oh, that was a good burrito.
Yeah, so I don't love, like, you have to sit in front of me when we eat so that you can devour your Chipotle. And then she's like, can I see you eat a predator? That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
How about ask a normal question?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Edward, what do you do in your free time? And he goes, kill mountain lions, apparently. We're on chapter 11 now. And she's in gym class, and she doesn't know that Edward's listening to Mike. She does, like, really bad in class because she's clumsy and not like other girls.
Not like other girls.
But then Mike gets kind of, like, gross and protective, and he's like, what are you doing with Cullen? And he's doing that thing like alpha males do where they refer to men by, like, their last name or a wrong name when they're trying to, like, diminish them in front of a woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So she's like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I'm just vibing with him. And he's like, I don't like the way he looks at you. He looks at you like you're something to eat.
Ha ha ha.
Do you get the joke?
He's because he's a zombie.
You know how I feel about zombies. And then Edward and her vibe for a second, and then Edward's like, I was listening to the conversation between you and Mike, and she's mad at him, and he goes, will you forgive me if I apologize? Like, yeah, because forgiveness starts with you apologizing.
Yeah,
and
that's like the first step.
A wrong thing. And she's mad, but she gets over it because Edward can do no wrong. And they talk about hunting again. And he's like, it's a big no-no that you ever, like, be there because I can't control myself when we're hunting. And,
you know what I'm eating, and you just get a little too close and, bite off a finger.
And he wouldn't be able to control himself, and he would get all horny hungry about this. I call it horny hungry because he's, like, really, really weird about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't control my senses. Which is kind of ironic because... remind me, put a asterisk here in real life, Justin, and remind me to come back to this part in the 4th book.
I'm not gonna remember that.
Well, I just told you, so now one of us has to remember. And he gets all horny hungry about this. So after he gets all horny hungry, he tells her to go inside and that tomorrow's his turn to ask questions.
Why are they taking turns asking questions?
I don't know.
I don't feel like that's something that happens in real conversation.
It's kind of like in a movie or like in a show when they do a dramatic part and you like try to think of how long that like actual time period would be between that.
Yeah.
That's like how the awkwardness is here. Does that make sense?
It's like when they're in a TV show or like they're in the restaurant and they're talking about something and then it cuts and they're in the car and they're like continuing the conversation. It's like, were they just silent paying the bill and walking to the car?
Yeah, except for then Edward goes, and now it's my turn to ask question. Bella goes, okay, master.
Okay, Master Bruce.
Master Bruce. Do you think that's because he's the Batman?
The Batman?
Okay, so then he starts asking, like, it's the next day, and he's asking her all these fucking questions, like, what's your favorite color? What's your blah, blah, blah? And she's like, my favorite color is brown today. Which is, like, cool. Like, brown needs some fans, bro. But, like, also, that's not, like, quirky.
Yeah, it's also not a great... It's just dark orange. Get over yourself.
You don't know colors very well. So then they're, like, they go to school, they gab, they just talk the whole fucking day, and it's really boring. And then they end up sitting, like, in front of her house in his sexy Volvo until dark with him just asking questions and her answering them.
God damn, that hot Volvo.
Do you know how upset I personally would be if somebody wouldn't stop fucking asking me questions all day?
No, it's fucking really annoying.
And I think actually at this point I want to ask any of our listeners who consider themselves maybe a little bit more of a submissive personality, because I very much so am not, to let me know if you would let somebody treat you the way, like if that's like something that you're into. Because like maybe she's consensually into him treating her like this.
She's just a sub.
Yeah, which would be totally fine, but she's also 17 and he's old.
Very old. Like the worst age gap you can really get.
Yeah, so I think I just need to hear from somebody who's maybe a little bit more of a but I do not mean like submissive in a mean way at all. Some people are submissive, some people are dominant, some people are in the middle. It's whatever floats your boat.
As long as everybody's consenting.
But it also doesn't have to be submissive in a sexual way. If you're just a more quiet person, just send me a note. Let me know if you would let somebody treat you the way Bella is being treated by Edward. Because she is letting him treat her this way.
Yeah, just send her a text. Her phone number is 66666666666. 6666666.
It's too many.
I don't think so.
I don't have one single 6 in my phone number. Oh my gosh, I just doxed myself.
Oh no,
okay.
Blue.
So they're sitting in front of the house until dark, and then all of a sudden, like, he tenses up because another car pulls up, and she's like, shit, it's Charlie. But it's not. It's actually Jacob and Billy Black. And Edward he growls. He does a lot of growling. So Justin, I'm going to say the line, and then I want you to growl. As a man, use your deep voice.
Do you want me to really do it?
I really, really want you to
joke?
No, I want you to do it like you think, because like he's like growling like an animal. So he says, another complication, and I want you to say it like you think Edward would be saying it in this moment. I won't look at you, okay?
All right. Another complication.
See, that didn't to me feel like a growl. That just felt a little bit more like
raspy.
Yeah.
Well, how are you really supposed to growl?
Another complication. But like quiet, because a growl is grrr.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put Bruno growling at the end of this episode.
Or where I just talked. Just put it over.
Yeah, that's true. So he growls that. He does a lot of growling. So it's clear to Bella that Billy fully believes like the impossibility of the Cullens being vampires that his great-grandpa knew way back in the day.
Yeah.
They kind of like talk about it, and Billy's like furious.
Like he knows that they're the same ones, or knows that they're not the same ones.
He believes they are the same ones. Billy doesn't know anything for fact like Bella does.
Okay.
But Billy believes 100% that the Cullens of this day and age are the same Cullens that his great-great-grandparents had that treaty with.
Yeah.
And that they're vampires.
Okay.
So that was chapter 11. Hippity hopping over to chapter 12. Charlie pulls up and says hi to everybody. Jacob and Billy are there to watch the game. They haven't seen it. Billy's like, yeah, we're here to watch the game. And Jacob's like, yeah, we haven't seen, like, our TV broke last week. And Billy, like, looks up and is like, yeah. And Jacob wanted to see Bella. Like, shit, bro, you fucking outed me. And she was like, oh, no, was I too convincingly sexy on the beach?
Bro, I'm trying to hoe on the low, baby. Don't give it away.
She then decides to cook dinner because she's a lady, and she talks to Jacob and tells him that she was with Edward Cullen. And she's worried this whole time that Billy's going to tell her dad that she was with Edward Cullen, which would be super... Can you imagine, like, your dad's estranged friend coming over to tell him that his estranged daughter has been seeing a guy in high school?
Your estranged friend's son comes to you to tell you your estranged daughter is seeing a strange man in school. Yeah.
Well, no, not your estranged friend's son, your estranged friend, because Billy's the one freaking out. Because, like, after she says it's Edward Cullen, he laughs and he's like, oh, that's why my dad was acting strange. He's such a superstitious old man.
Yeah.
And apparently last time Charlie and Billy talked, Charlie, like, chewed him out for being so mean to the Cullens, and this is, like, a reunion for them. But then they leave, and Charlie just is like a sweet dad. He's like, hey, Bella, like, don't go to bed yet. I didn't get a chance to talk to you about your day, which I just think that's really sweet.
Yeah.
You know? You don't see a lot of positive male adult role models in books. Usually they're dead or bad, so it's just kind of
Do you know
nice.
there's only 40% of positive male role models that are police officers in media? Just look up 40% of all police.
The next morning she goes to school, and it's Friday or something, and she's like, how was your night? And he jokes that he has a pleasant night, which will slowly, you know why that's funny, but don't spoil it, because some people haven't seen the programs. Do you know why that's funny?
No, I do not remember.
Okay, well, maybe some listeners know why that's funny. He still fucking asks her questions, and he tells her that he's going to hunt that night with Alice so he doesn't kill her the day after, which is so hot. Just makes me
so cool.
That would make me so horny, Justin, if you were like, hey, before our date, I have to go, eat a lot of food or I'm going to murder you.
Or I need to go murder some animals.
Yeah, so that I don't murder you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sociopath. Alice is the most supportive of his relationship with her. But, like, during this conversation, they're at lunch, or they're out in the parking lot, and Bella and Rosalie have some, like, weird-ass eye contact, where Rosalie's just, like, staring daggers at her. And they don't break eye contact until Edward hisses at Rosalie. I like that one. I thought that was good. Yeah. Apparently,
Don't look at my girlfriend.
his whole family is worried that if Edward is seen like too much with her and then she ends up disappearing or dying, that people will be smart enough to like link 2 and 2 together, because it's always the partner.
Yeah.
She goes to school, and then she tells Charlie she's not going to Seattle. She's actually going out with Edward, but she doesn't tell Charlie that. And Charlie goes fishing.
He goes bitching.
He's bitching.
He's catching bitches on the hook.
Edward and Bella's outfits end up matching that day, which is so funny to me because how often do we leave the house and our outfits match? Yeah. Unintentionally, too. We're like, shit.
We'll change sometimes.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we matched too well.
That's too much. They end up driving to a trail because they're going on a hike, but Edward's like, it's only 5 miles. And she's like, 5 miles? What the fuck?
Me.
Because literally, she's not like other girls. Like, she's clumsy. But Edward is taking her somewhere he likes to go when the weather is nice. She tells him that nobody knows where she is, and he gets really pissy and says, are you so depressed by Forks that it has made you suicidal?
Damn, dude.
So he's like really edging himself on killing her.
Yeah.
After several hours, they get to a clearing that is like treeless. It's a little meadow with wildflowers. It's just like really pretty.
Yeah.
And she's like enjoying the beauty when she turns to take a glance at Edward, and he decides to walk into the bright glow of the midday sun. Do you want to do one more chapter? It's an uncomfortable chapter. It's the one that made my face the way my face was last night. Or do you want to start with that chapter next round?
Oh, those are both bad choices.
Yeah, either way, we have to do the chapter. It's funny.
Let's do it.
Do it? Okay, we're in chapter 13. He's sparkly like thousands of tiny diamonds were embedded in the surface of his skin. And they're totally vibing. And he's like, are you scared of me? That's how I imagine him talking. Bella, are you scared of me?
Are you scared of me?
And then she starts like tracing his arm with her fingers, which is like kind of a make me uncomfortable because I don't like to be touched.
Yeah, that's sensory type.
But then he goes, she's like, am I making you uncomfortable? And he goes, you can't imagine how good that feels.
What the fuck, dude? Yo, chill.
During this like time together, he's not like taking the like precautions that he would usually around humans, so he's like moving like really fast. Like just when he puts his hand up to her cheek, it's like in one spot and then it's on her cheek, so it's going really quickly.
He's fast as fuck, boy.
And then for some reason their faces are getting really close, and she ends
for some reason
they're not kissing or anything, they're just getting close, and she ends up smelling his breath, and his breath is really good smelling.
What?
I don't think that has ever been said about a person unless they have literally just stopped brushing their teeth.
Yeah, even then, it's like, too minty.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So his breath is really good, and she gets close, and she, like, inhales it, and he gets so, like, hungry, horny, that he has to leave. He has to, like, go to the other edge of the clearing, and she's like, I'm sorry, Edward, and he's like, just give me a moment, which kind of reminds me of, like, in animes when they're, like, actually horny and they're like, I just need a minute.
Yeah.
He then starts like throwing a temper tantrum, and he says he's having a human moment, and this is like kind of the funny part when he goes into the forest in the movie to show Bella that he's got sparkly skin. Yeah. And he's jumping around the trees, and he's like, I'm the world's best predator, aren't I? Everything about me invites you. This is a quote. Everything about me invites you in. My voice, my face, even my smell. As if I need any of that. And then he, like, rushes away into a tree.
He just speeds off.
And then he's like, as if you could outrun me. And then he goes really fucking fast across the clearing. And then he's like, as if you could fight me. And he, like, breaks off a branch and Kobe's it across the field.
Yeah.
And then he comes back around and he's like, I'm sorry. Did I scare you?
He's like, look how scary I am.
Yeah.
Did I scare
you? Did I give you a spook? Did I give you a right quick spook? And then, you know, after his temper tantrum, they're gabbing again. And then he does the heroin analogy. Do you remember the heroin analogy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so he's trying to explain to her why she is so intoxicating to him. And basically he's like, it's like if an alcoholic or somebody who did drugs was sitting in a room with the drugs.
Yeah.
That's kind of basically the analogy. And she goes, and it's like, except for them just being regular drugs, they're like special drugs that I really like. And so the analogy is Bella is Edward's personal brand of heroin and that he craves her.
Okay.
You were the one who wanted to keep going.
Okay. As someone who habitually used marijuana in the past, not addicted chemically, but like emotionally addicted.
It's intoxicating, yeah.
Drugs are good though. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be like, you're my own drugs are just good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, drugs are good.
I'm not sure we can include that in the podcast.
Okay, kids, don't do drugs.
Yeah,
and
don't
stop
do drugs.
Listening. This is not for you.
No, I said fuck too many times.
But like, yeah, you don't need to like. No.
Also, you don't have to kill people to do drugs.
That feels like someone who's never like drank before, you know?
You probably hadn't.
Oh, I forgot she's Mormon.
Well, she is. Stephanie Myers is Mormon, but Edward was also.
No, I'm saying from the author.
Oh yeah, like,
Stephanie
the
Myers
author
saying that.
Yeah, from her perspective, I can't guarantee it, but I feel pretty comfortable making the assumption that she is not somebody who partakes in alcohol or anything harder than that. I mean, I know from experience that Mormons aren't typically allowed to have coffee.
Yeah.
Which, as somebody who does coffee, that should be addicting.
Yeah.
So he does that analogy. And she's like, is that like normal? And he's like, he spoke to his brothers, Jasper and Emmett, which is weird that he only spoke to his brothers, as if the female vampires couldn't possibly have this same emotion. They couldn't
female
possibly feel
horny.
This way.
Female vampire don't get horny.
No, horny hungry.
Oh.
Jasper had personally never smelled it. He has never smelled somebody he can't resist, but Emmett has twice. And Emmett did end up killing both of them.
Cool move.
But they were strangers for Emmett, and they weren't like somebody he was close to. And he like straight up talks about how he literally he used all of his like humanness inside of him to not kill her that day in class. Because he knew the reasons he didn't want to is he knew he'd have to kill everybody in the class and that they would have to move.
Cool reasons.
Yeah, and then they do the lion and the lamb analogy where she goes, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb, and she goes, what a dumb lion. And Edward goes, what a sick masochistic lion. Homie, just say sick lion. Put masochistic in there, nobody thinks you're cool.
What a sick vocabulary word, lion.
I feel like I'm taking the GRE again. She like kind of talks and like wants to make sure she doesn't trigger him again. And they talk about what they can do to avoid that. And Justin, this is what I did last night. Then he kind of like, they're talking about this and he goes, stay still for a second.
No.
And he lays his cold cheek against the hollow base of her throat.
What?
This part, right? That's what I did last night.
Yeah.
And we should post a video of us doing this.
I never want you to do that to me again.
On the hollow base of her throat. I didn't do this next part to you because then his hand, while he's doing that, he's like this, Justin. His hand slide down the sides of her neck and then move to her shoulders. And then his face drifted to the side with his nose skimming across her collarbone. And then his face comes to rest on the side of her chest.
So he's like, oh, you're a drug and I can't control myself around you. Let me fucking sniff this joint up.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Get the lighter next to it.
Well, you know how he did the lion metaphor?
Yeah.
It's like catnip when cats rub their face on catnip. That's what he's doing. And then like he pops up and he's like, she's like, that wasn't bad for me. Was that bad for you? kind of like sex, but like people doing the sex for the first time, you know, where like if they're doing it properly, consenting and adults, you go, oh, what was that good for you? Yeah, that was good for me. Oh, was that good for you? But all he did was like bother her collarbone with his face.
Let me rub my face on your chest a little bit.
And then it gets a smidge weirder because then she goes, don't move. And then she caresses his cheeks and strokes his eyelids.
What?
Then traces her fingies down her nose.
Okay, it's...
And
wait,
then his lips.
wait. Don't fucking touch someone's eyelids.
You're ruining the magic.
I hate that so much.
You're ruining the magic.
Like, I don't like to touch my own eyelids because, like, you feel eyeball.
Are you really weird about your eyelids?
I mean, not like I'll rub my eyes,
He
but I
just
don't
touched
want to...
his eyes for like 1 single second.
I don't
I
want
can
to just...
tell it freaked him out a little
I don't
bit.
want to just rest a finger on my eyelid, you know?
Well, I think she's doing... I'm going to do it, listeners, for
Okay,
our audio
yeah.
format.
I'll
I think
describe
she's
it.
like this. No, I just described it.
No, I'm going to describe it. You do
where
it.
she's like this. Like just rubbing his eyelids.
That's touching the eyeball. That's so weird.
Oh my gosh.
You're just touching the eyeball through his skin sack.
Ballsack.
Oh no.
feel like ballsack. Okay, Justin, you're being incredibly inappropriate.
I'm sorry.
So you made me lose my mind. So then she traces his nose and then his lips, and then he opens his eyes, and they were hungry, but in exclusively the horny way and not the hungry way.
So he was horny.
Yeah, yeah.
He was hungry, but in the horny way,
No,
not in the hungry way.
Well, you have to specify that because he would devour her, like,
Yeah.
and not in the horny way. And again, this is all like written for kids, so it's like written really weird. Where she's like, and then he opened his eyes, and they were hungry, but not for food. And it's like, for what, Bella?
Puss.
Ew. Delete that. We're getting too sexual for this fucking kid's book.
That's the issue.
It's
a kid's book. What is going on?
I know. And then he says he's so hungry, but he hungers for something that he doesn't even understand.
Like, I'm totally fine with, like, just some kissing happening in a children's book. This is worse somehow.
I know. And I think it's really uncomfortable too, because if, like, I mean, you're a kid, you're not going to, like, take in these, it's like kind of like subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
Like, I'm loving the consent that's going on currently.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of consent in other parts of this book.
But it should not be in this book.
Yeah.
Especially with who it's for.
Yeah. Okay, so then she places her ear against his chest. And then this is funny because I was talking to my people at work and I was like, can you imagine how uncomfortable that would be when you put your ear on somebody's chest but you hear nothing?
Yeah, that would be...
Because he has no organ movement.
Ugh.
How fucking weird that would be.
Yikes.
And he's not warm either.
No.
So that would, like, I mean, being, like, on a concrete floor without socks on sucks the heat out of my body so quickly.
Yeah.
That can you imagine putting your head on a quiet piece of like a slab of concrete that is Edward's chest, but it's breathing.
Ugh. Ugh.
Am I really setting up this word picture for you, beautiful?
I hate it.
So then he gives her, like, a really uncomfortable piggyback ride back to the car. And she's like, gets like really super sick because she gets motion sick. And they're like joshing around. He's like trying to cheer her up, blah, blah, blah. And then he fucking kisses her when she's about to throw up.
Do we want to talk about your car sick symptoms?
I don't throw up. No.
You don't throw up.
So
what do you do when you get car sick, though?
I just get a bellyache.
Yeah? A bellyache. Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll leave it at that.
So it would be like me in the car being like, oh, I really don't feel well. And then you're like, and now I'm going to kiss you. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Don't even look at me. I'm uncomfy.
Yeah.
And then at the end of this chapter, my only note was, this shit makes me super uncomfortable. Because
No,
again,
it's
I'm
great.
listening to
yeah.
this. So.
How's the audiobook, the person?
She's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, she does, like, the voice for Edward is really funny because she just gets kind of, like, slower like I am. But she does, like, I mean, it's not really, like...
Good book? Good audiobook?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I've got, Justin. We finished chapters 7 through 13. How are you feeling?
Bad.
Bad? Okay.
Bad. I mean, did you listen to what you were saying?
I did, and I listened to the audiobook.
So that would be why.
Mm-hmm. And we want to thank you folks so much for listening to Reading Held Hostage. I'm Blue.
And I'm Justin.
And we just want to say a couple of things at the end here. Please subscribe or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. We love subscriptions there.
Doing our YouTube now.
We are considering eventually doing a video, but it just depends on how people feel. I feel like I had one other thing on my brain.
Twitter?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. I remembered the actual thing. The Twitter is at Reading Hostage, but everything else should be Reading Held Hostage. Mm-hmm. If you like the format of us doing like two-parters like Twilight, because I have a feeling I have a lot of comments on the Twilights.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot less chapters per episode.
Yeah, but we're considering doing a Tuesday, Thursday release for like 2 parts, like because I think Twilight's going to be 4 parts eventually, but
we might put this out on next Thursday. So.
Yeah, so just let us know if you like that. But besides that, thank you so much. Leave us a review. Leave us any feedback. 0 or 5.
0 or 5. No, 1 through 4.
And my name is Blue, and I really love to read.
And my name's Justin, and I'm stuck here.
Can you growl that last line?
And I'm stuck here.
Ugh. I'm growling now. I'm hissing, actually. Thank you so much for listening to Reading Held Hostage.
Oh my god.
We'll see you next week.
It may Robert
I'm
Pattinson,
recording again.
isn't it?